I introed the last one. Allan introed the first one, and John, you're new, so sorry.
I'm the first guest, right? Technically, first guest.
Yeah. I guess. Well, I don't know. Chloe might be a guest. She might be a co-host. She might be
I
a very often returning guest.
Schrodinger's guest.
Schrodinger's guest. She will be in at least 50% of the episodes.
At least.
So Chloe, why don't you introduce this one?
Wait. So how does the intro work specifically?
Be as cheesy.
Everybody knows their intro.
Oh God. None of the intros are consistent yet, but it's fine. Hi, welcome to Hi, welcome to. I can't. I'm glad this is going to be edited because holy shit, live would be bad. Hi, welcome to another episode of Out of the Box Solutions. I'm here as Chloe,
Name change, brand change.
a cat, Schrodinger's guest, and you have our two normal co-hosts, James and Allan.
Hello.
And we have a new guest, John. Please introduce yourself.
I am John, as she said. Do I just go into like everything? Just telling my life story? Okay.
Yeah, at least.
I like literally everything.
Don't keep us in suspense. John.
No, I don't know. Like, what do you want to know? What do you want to know
just
about me?
basics. Like, I don't know. Like, just
where you live and what you study.
Okay, I live in Texas right now, very close to Houston because I work near Houston. I work as a tugboat engineer, so I don't have a specific spot
really
that I
cool.
work, but I work in the Houston Ship Channel as well as along the coast and not in the Gulf, but close to it. I studied mechanical engineering at SUNY Maritime. And there I got a mechanical engineering degree, obviously, and a third assistant engineer's license from the Coast Guard, which is why I am currently working as a tugboat engineer.
It's cool.
There.
How was that? Was that a good intro?
Yes, that is perfect.
Could have been better, but whatever.
Whatever.
We'll keep it. If we can run it again, actually.
You're kidding.
So anyway, I am kidding. So today we're going to talk about Chloe's friend's problem, right? So Chloe also initiated a brand change that she did not tell me and Allan about. The name of the podcast is now Out of the Box Solutions, no longer Problem Solving Podcast.
Oh
God.
I actually, honestly, not a bad name.
Yeah,
Just change it on the fly. Just
I
change it every
thought-
podcast.
No consistencies. We'll just make new multi-universe.
Problem Solvers
names.
Podcast episode 3, and then the next one is just Out of the Box Solutions episode 4.
I could redo the intro. I just
No.
No. It was
We
perfect.
gotta roll with it. None of this is being edited.
none.
So why don't you talk about your friends, kind of like the issue that we briefly, to fill everybody in.
Oh yeah, so basically, my friend's moving out. This is the first time she's done so. She's lived in the same house for probably like 15 years, and she doesn't really remember the times her mom would move out because she was so young. But this is the first time she's kind of moving away from home. We'll keep the budget at $1,000 a month. How should she budget her money? I feel like this is really relevant for a lot of people, our age or anyone just moving out for the first time.
Okay, quick question. So, do you want to get into? We could do it either way. Do you want to get into the details specifically, kind of like for your friend? Not like the details of what they're doing, obviously, but like kind of constrain the problem so that it's like helps that person out specifically, and then make it more broad, or do you want to keep it broad?
I think we could do the prior. I guess we could make it more broad after. I will tell you like
so
this,
let's
like
get some eats.
Get some eats. Well, she is.
Deets,
she
like
has
details.
like little pieces.
Yeah.
She is like she has a full-time job. She was a business major. I won't say which one specifically, but she's working for a relatively large company now, and she's making like a steady income of like somewhere between $70K to $80K. But we have to constrain the fact that she's living in New York City.
Yep.
Like, New York City and the boroughs, which I know for any of our viewers that are out of state, 70, 80K is not bad. But as soon as you kind of step into more urban areas, it gets a little, it doesn't feel like a lot around here. So I think that those are good constraints to work with.
Okay. And so,
Yeah.
why is her? What's like the broad reason why her mom wants to move upstate? Like work or just cheaper living expenses, things like that?
Oh, I don't know if we mentioned that, did we?
I
Oh, I
don't think
just said,
so.
oh, she's looking. Oh, okay. So, like,
Or
yeah,
maybe I
her.
might have missed it. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So, should we just, like, leave that, or.
Do you want? Wait, no. Do you want to mention why the general reason why her mom's? I don't know if you mentioned it
Oh,
or
I
not.
don't know. I think. Oh no, I didn't. The only reason I don't is just because it like bleeds into like more problems. We just
Oh,
should say
okay.
that she's like no, not like more problems. It's just that like it becomes like kind of long winded. So we would just kind of constrain the problem.
Okay, so
Um,
she's moving upstate.
like her
Boom,
mom's moving
done.
upstate. Yeah, her mom's
Yeah, for
moving
some
upstate,
reason.
and she like wants to stay in New York because it's more accessible for her. So um, how should she budget herself? And she actually went to not a non-private college, so she actually doesn't have that many. She doesn't actually really have any debt, so that's like the one. I guess that's an unrealistic aspect, but that's one aspect she
That is a
has.
good plus.
Yeah, it's a very good plus.
Yeah. Okay. So, um, I personally don't have much experience with moving. I want to move out and all that stuff, but yeah, the budget is definitely something that is scary. Uh, so, did anybody else want to take the floor?
So I'm just kind of confused. What's like the main first issue we have to? I understand it's how do you budget your money, but is the issue that her job isn't going to be able to cover her living expense? Because I understand, I remember because Nick talks about it all the time. A separate friend that me and James have, who lives in New York City, and he's talked about his rent, and I understand it's high. Um, but is it that her job isn't going to be able to like provide for where she has to stay in New York City, so she
Oh,
has to.
there's so yeah, one thing I think Chloe mentioned earlier was like before we started recording was so her friends her is going to also be paying part of the mortgage of the place that her and her mom would move or her mom's moving into.
But if
So now
she's
it's like
not
she's
if
gonna
she's not
have
living
Oh,
with her
hold
mom,
on.
why is she paying part of the mortgage?
Oh, I'm on a call right now. Yeah.
oh
Oh, I thought you were just talking to us.
that's what I thought. I thought she said I'm gonna call her right now.
Yeah.
And no, but I think it was because her mom can't afford to live up there, but without help. That's what it
So
probably
her
sounded
mom's
like.
requiring her to pay part of the mortgage.
For whatever reason, so there's some hard constraint. Her mom has to move upstate.
Okay.
Has to move to some location upstate. I guess they would much rather prefer to buy a house rather than rent someplace because that would be like you at least could get money
Well,
back.
there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with taking out. I was talking to my dad about this stuff recently. There's nothing wrong with taking out a mortgage. If I decided I was going to go get a house tomorrow, and I didn't, well, I mean, specifically for what I want, I wouldn't want to get a house yet. But if I wanted to go get a house like tomorrow, I could probably, well, not probably, I would be able to get a house with a lower mortgage rate than what I'm paying in rent. It's people should not be afraid to go out and buy a house. But this has nothing to do with her issue. But what I'm saying is I currently pay way more in rent than I would if I was mortgaging a house. Like I could get a house if I wanted to.
So then, obviously, I guess the downside is like you kind of tie yourself to that asset and that,
You don't. So
that
you don't
area.
necessarily tie yourself to an asset when you buy a house. The problem is with buying a
You're
house
right. You tie
is
yourself to a liability.
you're gonna have
But
to.
anyway.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. So I mean, that's one of many things. Like if you live in a place like me, which is could possibly be prone to hurricanes and stuff like that, you run the risk of destroying a house that you put a down payment on, and then you have to. I don't know if you have to. I don't know exactly how it works. I don't know if you would have to finish the payment after that. I assume you would because you already bought the property. But I mean, if you have insurance, I assume there's differences. But the fact it's just kind of weird that she has to rent a house, not rent a house. She has to mortgage a house with her mom, plus she has to find a place in New York City, which is very expensive to live rent wise. So I mean, that's like the issue. I understand that her mom can't afford to get a place. This is kind of like a weird situation. This
It
isn't
is, yeah,
this isn't
it's-
like a normal situation where it's like me where I, you know, started in New York, got a job, and then they were like you have to move to Texas, and I was like okay, and then I just rented a place, and I've been renting a place since I've gotten here, and I've just been working. Like I have it so that I'm budgeted. I know how much I got to pay in rent every month. I know electricity, water, whatever else I have to pay, internet, all that
Video
stuff.
games.
I know how much I pay per month on food and all that stuff. So I don't have a problem with budgeting necessarily. The only thing I have to worry about in my sense is saving money for the future. And investments. That's what I have to worry about. So her situation is very weird because I don't know how much she spends in rent where she's looking to spend rent, and I don't know how much she's going to have to. And also, I don't know if her mom has a job or if she's retired or what she's doing. So it's.
Oh yeah, her mom has a job, and it's just like, you know, I think the only thing I think I really didn't mention, because I didn't want to get like too terribly personal, but it was more like she wanted her own freedom. Like, she's been living with her family, like, even throughout like undergrad, through like that entire situation. It's always just been living in the same house, and of course now as a young adult, it really wouldn't benefit her to like move upstate with her mom, and still keep her job in New York City and not really have
I'm
time
on the
to,
phone.
like, do anything else. It's happened twice with us. It's okay.
How come you're not in the basement?
I am not in the same house.
That makes sense.
This is house number. What is this, like 6 or 7 that I own? Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway, who's counting?
See, you should be answering this question.
Yeah, you're the one. You're the one who has the most experience, obviously.
Own 0 houses. Yeah, so it's definitely a weird situation, but I guess almost if I were to broaden it a little bit, instead of like just saying moving out and in general and like having to budget, because obviously that's like, you know.
So do you want to just make the situation?
Wait, John,
how do you
John,
prepare?
Please. Excuse me. So is the slight broader topic of like having to help out your parents, I guess, you know, as like if you're a young professional making maybe more money than them or something like that, you know, if that's the situation, I don't know, but right, like now it's like the point where you're old enough to help out your parents and they're like,
Yeah.
you know,
I think that would be better. And if you want to actually restart because of like the random people interluding and then us not getting the problem, no.
Do you want to?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm fine with the whole restarting but cutting kind of thing. But do you want to set like the exact questions you want to ask now instead of
No.
like?
Yeah,
all
say-
part of the
that'd be
process.
better.
Is cursing not is that frowned upon?
No, it's good. It's good. It's actually encouraged.
Okay. All right. I'll make sure to do it more. No, it's just if I had more definitive questions, then it would be easier to.
I think
because this is a little
I
bit
don't
of a
know.
confusing situation.
It is.
Yeah, we could move it around to, I have a problem with my friend has a problem, and she has a budget, and she's living on her own, and she has to also help out her family. How should she budget that? I think that'll be better. Yeah.
Is that true? Like to the situation? Kind of?
It is true, because she still has to pay that mortgage.
Yeah.
And
But
she
she
also
does.
needs to. Yeah.
That's
Is fortunately
that's
getting
rough.
like, her deed.
It is.
Her name is partially on the deed, so like it's not like she's necessarily losing the money on that house, right? You know, it's just like it's tied up in the house now. So it's
You know, a 30-year mortgage, and she is just
Right,
bound
exactly.
to it. It's like terrible.
it feels
you
like
know?
you're losing it.
Well,
but-
it's
Yeah.
not necessarily a bad thing that she's in. If she can afford it, it's okay. Because the whole reason you buy a house was the intent that you're eventually, obviously, going to live in it, but you're eventually going to sell it,
Yeah.
and you're going to be able to sell it for more than you bought it for. So, having that 30-year mortgage isn't necessarily a problem. It's actually probably better because it's probably cheaper than doing the 15 or whatever other one that she could possibly get. So she's probably doing it at the rate that they can afford. I just don't entirely know their financial situation. It sounds to me like they're just going to have to cut everything else out of their life.
we need out of the box solutions, John. All right.
Well,
Out of the
this is
box.
like I said before, this is a very weird
idea.
situation.
This is an
This is like
out-of-the-box
kind of
problem.
unfathomable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Like
did you
this
say,
is I.
What?
What did you say,
What did I say?
Alan?
I said this
Yeah,
is an
yeah.
out of the box problem.
It is an out of the box problem.
Yeah.
So,
As soon as I.
Out of the Box Problems is a new podcast, and we give in the box solutions. Episode 5.
Can you
I
stay in
cannot
your
believe-
lane and do one podcast at a time, please?
You can't hold me back.
You got so excited and you finally said, "I'm doing a podcast." After years and years of, "Hey guys, this should be a podcast." You finally got one, and now you can't stop. You just make podcast after podcast, and you're just not gonna know where to stop now.
For the record, it was actually Alan's idea. So Alan's idea to
What?
do it, and we
No,
kind of
it's not.
spitballed ideas.
This was your idea.
No. I meant like idea to do do a podcast. Oh no, wait, no, it was
Now,
my idea
Yeah,
like
that
years
was your
ago.
idea.
Oh, that's
I mean,
right.
if no one's gonna
Right.
take credit for it, this is my idea. Like, this is such a
You're
great
right.
idea. I'm really glad we came up with this.
Okay, so, jeez, come on, guys, let's stay on task, all right? So we have the problem of helping out family members with bills or of some sort,
yeah.
and like also starting your own career, living in a different place completely, you know.
Yeah.
So the only way I can really speak to this is like I've definitely experienced that in my family. Like like I've helped out to a much lesser degree. People that I know are, like tight for cash, and retired or something like that. But yeah, nothing that big. Like that's a big commitment. And if I'm
It
being
is.
completely honest, I would say the best solution. I'm not one of those people that's like attached to New York City. Like I live kind of close to New York City, but like I don't want to live in New York City. And the first thing I would do if in that situation is like realistically find a place if there's another place I could work and for do the same type of career but that's cheaper to live, and that might not be upstate New York obviously. Like I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't, but another city like even somewhere in New Jersey or somewhere in New York, but like not not New York City, or somewhere across the country. Like really just look for other places that you can get a similar job, and it might not be possible, but I think that's a good place to start.
Wait, so
You
that
know.
it's cheaper to live there, but it's still
Hopefully.
the same experience as New York? Like, what was the idea
If
you
the
were
ex-
having?
if the no, so you basically can make the same amount of money, around the same amount of money, but just in a place that's cheaper to live. So then you could obviously save money that way. And
Wait,
then
but she has to live in New York because of her job.
I'm saying look for
Yeah.
other places that have similar jobs. Like I don't know the field.
Well, then
or
you wouldn't
industry she's in.
necessarily get the same pay.
Not necessarily, but
It would
I
probably
think
it
it's
would
like a
probably be
place to start.
proportionate to where not
Yeah.
fairly
Not
proportionate
always.
to where
Like
she's
I
living.
know. So from my experience with working with laser companies, like I've done in the past, like the place I work, which is a fairly relatively expensive place to live in New York, is relatively expensive to other places that have laser companies as well. Like I know Pennsylvania has a laser company, has a bunch of laser companies, and they all pay more than the place I worked.
Oh, wow.
So it was like that was
But I
more.
think for her,
There's outliers, and I would say it's not always proportional, but and
For
plus
her
now she has
specific
experience,
job.
So yeah, what were you saying?
for her specific job, I feel like New York City is the best place for it.
You feel like New York City's best for it, but
I'm only maybe not.
out
Yeah.
of the box solutions, build a new city and make your own job.
Build. I think really what we're really looking more towards, I guess, to if we're getting even more and more personal. I think at this point, I just don't mention her name, and then
Absolutely.
we'll count the rest of her life out. Yeah. Going back again, it's the freedom that she really wants, and I think like most of us can relate to it. You've been living with your family for the most part, and so long as she's in a place that she really just wants to call a place her own. So honestly, the idea of moving around isn't the worst. She could probably move to another city, but the fact is, no matter where she moves into, she's still going to have to pay for her life and that mortgage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's really the problem here. How do you budget that? And I'm sure as a business major, she has something in mind. But, I want to present this problem to you guys. See how we would kind of, I guess, solve it.
You could always do the side hustle,
The side hustle.
like have side like become an Uber driver or something like that.
Or
And if you can
make
make, like-
podcasts on YouTube.
Yeah, tell her to
Yeah.
be on the podcast.
Or go to the Pokemon Alinity solution. I'm
What's
kidding.
that?
No, don't do. You don't have to do that.
I don't know what that is.
Be a Twitch streamer. No,
Oh.
you don't have
Oh,
to
yeah,
be a
yeah,
Twitch
yeah.
streamer.
A hot
Yeah.
Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
But realistically though, side hustles. Like I know a few people that they work full-time job and they're like, yeah, I just kind of do for example, one of my friends used to be a waiter at a restaurant, and then when he got his job, working at a lab, he still would do waiting on some weekends because he'd bring in like just some extra cash. He didn't like need it. Like he was but it helped out a lot because he had student loan debt and other things and stuff like that. So it just alleviated a lot of some of the financial stress. Um, so I mean, that's not something everybody can do as easy, especially now in quarantine, right? Like, what other jobs are there? Maybe realistically, people should just be like, I'm happy I have a job.
Yeah,
Because
just
I know
be
I am.
satisfied.
Just be satisfied. Yeah, exactly. These are the out of box solutions we need, not the ones that we deserve.
Just stop being sad. Be happy.
Go to therapy.
Yeah, just stop being depressed. Just do it.
Yeah.
Always just embrace
realistically,
your
though,
situation.
I mean, I don't know what else she could do besides get a second job. Like I don't really know what else.
We gotta think of stuff.
It doesn't even have to be
That's
a
the
second
point.
job. Like, you could just find other ways
Yeah.
to make income, like whether that be, being a content creator online, or, maybe if she likes
That's
art,
like a
she could
long
try
game,
to
though.
pursue that a little bit. It's kind of,
Yeah.
But like content
That is-
creator, as
she-
cool as it is and as wonderful as that idea is, not trying to bash anybody and specifically, but being a content creator is a very it's a rare thing that somebody becomes famous,
Yeah.
a la gets money
Of course.
from it, and it's not necessarily like something that you could really. And I feel like once you get to the point where you do become like actually gaining revenue from that thing, that does become your life. You don't have a second job after that point, or you're not really doing anything else. You're making money off of getting views, selling merchandise, or like getting views and getting money from the views. I don't think YouTube actually gives that many views. So I guess you could do Twitch and get donations and all that stuff, but that's all depending on if you can get people to like you on the internet and give you clicks. Like that's kind of a rough way. I mean, obviously she could try and invest the money she has, but in terms of if she wants to risk it and go for short-term investments versus going for long-term investments, that's another way. She could buy scratch tickets and try and win the lottery. Like I don't there's a lot of ways she could make money. It's just
I think
really
we could
sad-
reframe this problem.
Wait, really quick. I just have one quick thing to say. There's this really sad graph that shows the amount of money that people spend on lottery tickets is indirectly proportional to how much your income is. So the lower your income, the more you spend on lottery tickets.
That makes sense.
And it's like, so the rich people basically never buy lotto tickets.
audio.
And,
why would they?
Audible
Exactly,
sponsor.
right?
No.
Why would they
So-
buy a lotto? They've already got the
You buy
money.
the lottery tickets, you're kind of like, so when somebody wins the lottery, that's like literally like mostly the poor people's money that they're actually winning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, the lottery is like a very interesting thing. But sorry, what were you gonna say, Chloe?
I was about to say that we could reframe the problem to make it more, at least, relatively solvable. We could let's just say
assume she
that
has
she
infinite
can.
money. And
Let's just say that she can afford both, like all of this, right?
Okay.
How should she budget it? I think that's really what the question should be.
I think, right off the bat, though, quick question: how much is she attached to living alone, or would you rather live? Would you rather live with roommates?
I think she would much rather live with roommates.
Oh, okay.
AKA she's been trying to like make me get an apartment with her, and I'm just like fair.
Oh, I see. Okay. So, trying to live. So she's looking for roommates. That's like kind of like one of the easy solutions. Like, but it's not. It's obvious, but it's not necessarily easy to do. To like have people that are willing to commit to that with you. So, yeah, definitely get as many roommates as possible. Give them all COVID.
Well, I don't know about
Yeah,
it's possible.
Yeah, this is
That's possible.
diminishing returns, but having at least one roommate is nice.
Yeah, just
Or,
someone
like,
who could split the rent with
financial.
you.
Yeah.
Make it that much easier.
Chloe, I hope you're saying yes.
Yeah. I am saying yes.
Wait, really?
I've already. No, like in terms of like, actually like living with her, I would if I could. Like right now, I'm just finding a job, trying to be finished with school as soon as I can. But that like realistically, the time frame is actually she may or may not have found a deal. But like they're going to spend roughly a year just settling in, and I think a year after that, she would probably start searching. So I'm not saying it's within the next year or even the year after that. I'm just saying that that's the process of what her and her mom are planning to do.
Oh, so she
So,
just spent a year
like-
upstate?
Like just spending a year living there, and actually
Okay.
like where she is, she can take them, like she can take the train down to the city.
Yeah, roughly
Like, I
how
think
long of a
that'll-
ride do you think it is? Like, commute.
I think it'll be within like, actually, it'll probably be closer to, the city because the metro like is much faster than, just subways
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it might take her an hour and a half or less. Which is not
Okay.
bad.
Okay,
yeah,
so
that's
she's
actually
not
not
like
terrible.
she's not like super upstate. Like
Yeah,
when
not
you said
super
upstate, I was thinking
Yeah.
like Albany and like.
Oh yeah,
Buffalo.
no, she's good.
Okay.
That's pretty far.
Somewhere north of Westchester.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay, so all right, so now let's talk a little bit about budgeting then, and what advice
Yeah.
we can give to that.
Yeah, I think budgeting is something that we can feasibly answer.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Not
John,
where are you gonna find this money? It's like if I knew, I would have. I'd be doing it too.
I want John to talk about this, but I first want Allan to talk about it. So
Why me? I don't know how to budget.
I don't know. I want you to talk about it. What's your experience with budgeting, and how would you recommend doing it?
I didn't budget.
So you're like a-
What's the last thing? What's the last thing you wanted to buy?
Last thing I wanted to buy, food.
Food. So food. So
Yeah.
last thing you
That's
wanted to buy
actually-
was
that's
food.
actually really
How often do you go out and get food every? Because that's a real thing that most of us do is go out and get food quite often.
Yeah.
You know, especially at our age, it's something that we do. It's something that I do, especially now with all this COVID crap. Like getting food to the door is like one of the easiest things I do, and I do it when I'm home probably like twice a week. So that's a fair thing, and I try and keep it at twice a week. So that's one way you budget. It's you go, all right. So instead of me spending $500 a week on going, ordering in, I'll go to the grocery store and get a certain amount of food, and that's going to last me the week. Versus because obviously going out and getting food is more expensive than going out and buying it at the grocery store.
Yeah.
So
What's
you have to
crazy-
weigh how
Yeah.
much you want to go out, and how much you want to stay in and have to eat, ramen noodles for 3 days straight.
No,
So-
but that's actually crazy because spending you said $500 a week on food.
I
Like that-
know
if you-
that's
exaggerated, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it actually was not that far away from that. Especially if you're living in New York and you're buying breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because easily all those meals can cost like, I don't know, $15 or more.
And then you add in like tip, and then
Yeah.
you add in delivery fees
Exactly.
and taxes,
I'm gonna
and that.
wait.
It,
Let's
a,
pull up my calculator.
a $15 meal can become 40 instantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Or if she's a coffee drinker, she's gonna drink coffee every day. That's I don't know how much how much is a coffee at Dunkin'. Yeah, how much is a coffee?
A large
at
cup,
Dunkin'?
something like $3.50-ish.
Yeah.
$3 a day. Imagine spending $3 a day per week. That's $21 per week. Times that by how many
So
weeks
much
there are in a
money.
year, don't know. But that's money that you could save if you just cut out coffee or something like that. That's one way to save, I'm saying.
Wait, so 15 times 3
do you
is
mean
45.
45?
Multiply that by 7 days a week. $315 if you're spending $15 per meal, and I would assume dinner is generally more expensive than breakfast, and maybe you throw coffee in there to pad it, right? So $300-ish, like per week just on food versus like that could be like your monthly grocery bill. So, yeah, that's something. Honestly, I've actually saved a lot of money from quarantine because I haven't been buying like lunch. I'll be just eating food at home that I bought.
So one of our solutions is to try not to go out and eat as much, or try not to order in. It's
Yeah.
try and buy your own food.
But it has to be out of the box. So you have to now prepare food and sell it to other people, and that's your side business.
Stop.
You run a kitchen out of your apartment. Make your apartment profitable.
Oh my God.
Sublease the apartment. Make it an Airbnb. Buy two, maybe rent 2 apartments and lease one out for more expensive than you're paying.
I was about to also say that if she's not living like with
Mm-hmm.
her mom, they could also like kind of sublease that.
Yeah, they
like
could rent
they
some
could
space in
Airbnb
their house.
that house that they have.
That's actually
Yeah, like let's say, yeah, let's say they're visiting that area for whatever reason to like for a business trip or just for whatever, maybe they could like lease out like an extra spare room. That's a pretty easy way to make cash sometimes.
Absolutely. Obviously, probably not right now.
Yeah, not right now,
You don't want
but
strangers like coming
once
into your house. But no, that actually is that's something. I don't know. I wonder how many people actually utilize that, because it's probably like a little bit of a hassle to actually do, but it's probably worth it, obviously, financially in the end.
there's actually quite a bit because for one of my birthdays, I actually wanted to like get an Airbnb, but I didn't want like a room. I wanted just like a place because my friends and I were just gonna stay over. Even if it was like closer to New York City, it was just for us to just kind of like get away from home and just kind of chill out. There's a lot of places that just like lease out their room. It's just a room, and it's just like if you just need to sleep, here it is. It's a little weird, but you can sleep there.
Do you think people regularly make money off of that, or do you think a lot of people list their room but then no one ever really even uses it?
I don't actually know. I've seen like
Probably.
I've seen a couple of reviews for each. Yeah, because sometimes people, especially if it's around like the city, like close enough to the city, people just lease things to spend the night there. I don't imagine them spending a week, but like a night at a time, just for a business thing or just to say hello or do something for a day. That's actually pretty feasible. So that's something that they could do for their current house.
I know.
If her mom is comfortable with having like part of their house leased at some points of the time.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Yeah.
But I mean, like realistically, like what I can understand a privacy thing, like a privacy concern or reason you might not want to do that. But realistically, it's like, it is a legal and pretty easy avenue. So if you don't want to accept it, like I don't know, like I can't really think of too many reasons why you really wouldn't want to do that, other than just privacy, I guess.
Having some stranger in your house.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
I think that's the one main reason why someone wouldn't want to do it.
You just lock up. You put a chair in front of their doors. They can't get out.
Yeah, that's not exactly what you do. No, mostly it's just you have a stranger in your house now, and you're renting out your place to a stranger that you are currently living. It's not just like one of those places that people have that like they go there at a certain time of the year and then they rent it out. People have summer houses that they can rent out at other places because they're not there all year round. So it's not the same thing. So you're taking that risk of I'm going to invite some random person to my house. They're going to pay me, but I don't know this person. They could murder me in my sleep.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing.
I'm gonna look up the rate of that happening, and if I find it, I'm gonna put it in the video right here.
It's not.
Movie magic.
That is.
Also, I guess
all right. What other things then about budgeting? So we talked about food, possible second sources of income, and then I think we got to kind of wrap it up soon. So it's been like almost about.
Okay. I think chalking up new sources of entertainment is something that like people won't talk about, but I think that's something necessary, especially if you're the type that loves to go out and like you really shouldn't be doing that now because of quarantine and even especially the time that we are. But assuming this is like normal time, you go outside and you like just like going to bars, partying with people. Maybe you would have to kind of cut back on that and maybe pursue other venues that are cheaper, like maybe doing something more outdoorsy. Hiking is typically low cost.
Yeah. I have a friend that.
If you're.
Sorry. I thought you were done. You can continue.
Oh no. You go ahead. You can.
I was just gonna say, based on what you said, like I have a friend that is constantly complaining about money, and then his name is John, and.
Oh God.
I don't think I've complained about money to you once.
No. And he, but like every weekend, this is obviously before quarantine, he would like spend like at least $200 going out to bars and stuff like that. Like it was in his budget to do that. But I was like, realistically, that's something you don't have to necessarily cut out, but $200 is a lot of money to spend per weekend. Yeah,
it's a hefty chunk of change.
$200. That's $800 to $1,000 a month. That's rent right there. So
yeah.
Just buy some natty lights and just get drunk at home alone in your
develop your alcohol addiction indoors. That's better for you.
Yeah.
That's the out-of-the-box solution. Drink alone at home.
Yeah.
Don't have fun.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Invite some friends over. Yeah. Because another reason you said she wants to live in the city or continue, whatever, is because I'm guessing she has friends or connections or whatever there,
Yeah.
as well as her job. So yeah. But so, what other cheaper sources of entertainment though are you thinking about?
I honestly think that, well, I mean, personally, I've always had like Steam and
Hmm.
games to keep me there. I would never buy a game that's fully priced unless like I've been really waiting it for years. And I would always get like entire bundles of,
Hmm.
the like what's it called? The entire series. Like let's say.
Yeah.
But it's funny because I always default back to League of Legends regardless of how many games I have. So really, who's who?
Mm.
Yeah, still support always, but
Yeah. I don't want to talk about League
but
of
but really
Legends.
like we're not going to talk about how to get good at League because I don't know how to do that either. If someone could tell me how,
I have a lot of tips on how to get bad. Lots of tips.
Yeah, me too. But realistically, yeah, like possibly changing what you derive entertainment from is really the
Hmm.
main point here. Maybe it's learning up a new skill, maybe picking up a new habit, which we discussed before,
Yeah.
um,
It's in the
and
card.
just things like that, right over there.
Yep.
It's definitely a lot
Um,
easier said than done, though.
It is.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah,
like,
you
hey,
have to
stop what you're
retrain
doing,
yourself.
do something else.
Yeah, it's like, gee, you should be knitting your new scarf because you can't afford it now instead of drinking outside. Stuff like that. It's hard to do, but
Yeah.
the sacrifices you make for freedom, I think, is
Stop
really
going
a
to
lot.
the club, you broke moron.
Oh God!
Uh,
Also, stop going to the club now because quarantine is
Yes.
happening.
yeah. What I actually did for just the only advice I really have to anybody for budgeting that like techniques or whatever is like I've just made a spreadsheet on a Google sheet of like
Hmm.
this is every monthly bill I have, you know, and then this is my monthly income based on my job or whatever I have, and these are the things. So and then I made a third column that was like the possible monthly bills that I could have, like if I added the things I wanted to buy, and that includes like one-time expenses, like if I were to buy something, and so kind of like looking at it graphically and like I would make a pie chart or a bar chart or whatever, and being like, I'm spending like I remember this is what happened with the food thing, and that's why I realized I was spending so much money on food. I was spending like at least probably $80 a week just on lunch when I would buy it at work, and then I stopped. I was like, all right,
Oh my
like maybe I'll
God.
buy it sometimes, but that's like more of a last resort. I will like commit to making my food either not so much like meal prepping. I've tried it, but just at least making some sandwich before I go to work or the night before, putting it in a bag and bringing it with me. Um, and that so yeah, because I think per month, what did I say? I said it was like 80, 60, or $80 or whatever per week just for food. So it came out to you know what is that?
Quick math.
32, 300-ish dollars again. Yeah, right. That's like $320. It's times six.
80 times 4? That's
It's almost like we have
Eight,
calculators
it's
on
like
our
four or
phones.
five though,
Yeah, right. Don't we?
because it's like whatever. It's more money than
It's a
needs to be
number.
spent.
It's 321.
More money that needs to be spent on it, and so and then I took that money and the money that I would basically be saving from food, and also instead of going to Dunkin' Donuts to buy a coffee, because I haven't been doing that as much either. So I take those two things, and that's like $500 now I put away into like a retirement account, like a Roth IRA, and that's like perfect because you can only put so much money away in a Roth IRA. So that's like it turns out to be $6,000 a year. That $500 a month is right. So uh, that's just from making my own lunch instead. Well, I guess it is a little bit different, right? Because I'm not accounting for the cost of groceries and stuff like that. But obviously, at the moment, I still live at home, so it's like I don't always pay for my own groceries.
But it would still probably be a significant portion.
Oh, it absolutely is.
So,
Just cut it, like say, just cut it in half. It's still $3,000 a year
Yeah.
extra.
it's
And
still a
so yeah, so I highly recommend just write out everything you know about your expenses, have it in a spreadsheet, and just so you can just see it. Just like what are things that you're spending more on than you realize.
it's
Yeah,
kind
I
of-
think it's the big thing is people don't realize how much they would like the way you put it. You spend however much per day on coffee. You don't realize how much it is at
Mhm.
the end of the year. So being able to have that spreadsheet, you can see how much. Ooh, I just spent this much on this. Last month I could definitely cut back on that. And I think giving it a tangible, something you can see, just makes it a lot easier than just saying spend less than you make.
Yeah, right.
That kind of ties back into what we were talking about the last episode about getting over bad habits. Like, really make it apparent to you. Like, make it, like, not attractive to you to want to do it when you're seeing the numbers and, like, how much you're really spending. Just like, oh my god, you need to cut back.
And you could make it so that, like, on the Windows startup, if you have Windows, you could just make the spreadsheets open as soon as you open your
That'd be
computer.
really embarrassing, though,
So-
if, like, somebody was next to you, and you're like, oh, I just gotta pull this thing up on my computer. You start it up. You're like, oh, God, how much money are you spending on all this crap? Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, how much money are you spending on this, like, latte you have? Are you spending, like, $1,000 a year for this? Yeah, it's something
You could
that...
literally buy
that's
the
pretty
latte
good to
machine
know.
for that much money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, pretty much at that point. Also, like, a weird thing that I kind of noticed, like, especially now since I'm, like, moving things around. I'm not moving completely away, I'm just moving to a different room, but I'm upgrading some things because working from home now. I noticed that if I just, like, ordered all the things I wanted on Amazon or bought all the things I needed at once, I spend less on delivery.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. Bundle all of your, unless they're of course in short supply, which things are right now. But if you can try your best to organize exactly what you're buying, this can spend, like, you could spend less in, like, delivery money, and or you stop buying unnecessarily things. Like, you think you need it then, and then you realize afterwards, oh, I actually didn't really need it. So just being really organized is
Wait,
really the goal.
Is that kind of what you're saying, like, where you're saying, like, wait to order it until you have other stuff to order, almost like so you have time to, like, think about it, be like, I guess I don't really need that.
Yeah.
I highly recommend that. I've done that a lot too.
Yeah, or it's kind of like, how sometimes, especially, like, my mom taught me this when I was little, like, I would see this toy that I really want, and she would be like, all right, if we'll buy it later, just keep it there, and if you still want it, we'll buy it later. And then it's
You just forgot about
like
it.
we've been shopping for 2 hours, I've completely forgotten
Yeah,
about it.
smart. Ooh, that's
It's smart.
sneaky.
Yeah.
That's so good. Now I want to have kids just so I could trick them. It'd be terrible. So,
That podcast isn't going to come out for a couple of years. How to deal with
It's
children.
only a couple.
yeah, only a couple years away, John.
Christ.
So, all right, anybody? All right, so we've been recording now for I don't even know how long, probably like 45 minutes. Let's see, yeah, 42, 43. So,
All of it gold.
yeah, all I hope.
It's all definitely staying in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh.
Oh God.
42 minutes of unedited. I'm on a call right now.
Yeah. It's like, Mom.
No, mom, not
Stop,
mom, not right
please.
now. I'm on with my Mom, I'm with my friend, Mom.
So I will stop talking, and I want everybody to have any other closing thoughts they have, and I want John to do the intro that we always do. We always do this intro. It's so iconic. Everybody loves.
You mean outro?
Outro. Everybody loves this outro.
I watched your video, but I didn't watch it to the end, so I don't know the outro.
So, all right.
That is exactly what I said last time, so it's okay.
So, you got to do the
was
outro.
in my
a very
heel line, that
iconic
was-
outro. And so, let's go in whatever order. I'm done talking. I'm not going to say another word for the rest of this podcast.
Budget is good. Keep an Excel sheet. Buy
So keep an Excel
Don't
sheet.
buy things immediately.
Yeah, don't just wait. Just make sure have a tangible way of being able to see how much you're spending. How about that? Closing
And try to
statement.
Trying to cut any extra fluff, and being responsible with your entertainment budget. Because actually, that's the one that people really don't track.
Yeah, for sure.
That's pretty much it.
And then what? An outro? See you guys later.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
That's pretty
Dude,
good,
we'll
yeah.
cut it right there. That was perfect. That was perfect. You know what? I admire the commitment. That was perfect.
Okay, what can I say?
You're a comedic genius.
Mm.
Have great hair.
Stop.
You live in Tennessee.
that RGB keyboard is so good.
Oh yeah, I can't, because this doesn't sit on top of my computer. It sits, well, because my screen is huge, so it's like if it was top of it, if it was up there, you'd be looking down on me. And also, I don't think there's a way for it to.
My monitor is just so big in 4K that I can't even put it on top. So
I don't
So
even.
you
I
need
don't
that
think
for
my
the
monitor.
cat.
I don't think my monitor's 4K, but it's like 32 inches.